all packed with fans. I mean, just look at how many fans are here to watch this treat that we all get to enjoy. This matchup should be a powerful one. This youngster, the world rapid champion, 18 years young, that's got to be something if he actually pulls off the double.
Yeah, that'd be amazing. And let's confess, we had a little chat before the start, and we are somewhat wishing for the final, Murzin against Carlsen, right? I mean, the brackets do work this way that it can potentially be a final.
And the handshakes off, and there they go. And this is the one we will definitely follow the closest, as these two will have their names etched in history pretty much for all time. And we do have liftoff, and we also have the PGN files. We started off with English, and let's just get both screens up on the board, and we have a very sharp position. That a little bit of hesitation there by Hans in this position, and now castles, threat to the pawn with bishop to g2, and rook e8 played quickly, and now knight to c2, prompting this trade on c3, and the d pawn recaptures, opening up a line for the bishop.
Yeah, h7, h6, stopping bishop g5, and if you will, it's a Rossolimo Sicilian with colors reversed. So white acts like black would in the Rossolimo Sicilian, having an extra tempo. So it should be comfortable for white, but I really doubt if white has any serious advantage here. c5, very ambitious move.
Preventing the obvious move d6 without creating some weakness, but then he played b6, did Hans Niemann, and now the next c-pawn, the new c-pawn,
yeah, so c4 and then c4 and move 1, and then c4 once again and move 11.
Exactly. And so now it is a question of, can black say, well, I should be okay. My structure's, whoa, I was about to say very solid. And instead he said, I'm just going to open up the game. Remember, white is the one with the two bishops, particularly the dark squared bishop. So this move must come as a little bit of a surprise to Magnus, as Hans feels that the best thing for him to do is just open up the game and trade off queens.
Yeah, I'm wondering what Magnus is going to do. Like, will he capture d5 himself, or there is castle inviting black to capture on d1. He does the first, goes for the first option, trade it, and only then castles kingside. Knight to d7. Well, it's not easy to foresee how exactly white is planning to develop his initiative.
I think the interesting thing for me is, what will the bishop on c1 do? Well, you would like to play the move b3 to develop it, but there is the problem of knight to c3.
Yep. Well, actually, both white bishops, we do speak of the advantage of two bishops. As of now, both white bishops are kind of restricted.
Right. Knight to e3 instantly responded to by bishop to e6, and Hans is playing mercurially quick. I mean, he is just taking this edge to Magnus on the clock already. He's up a full minute and just saying, I got this. Whatever move you make, I'm ready to play. Magnus has to be feeling a little bit of pressure, and him grabbing a pawn there and now playing the move a3.
A3, do we like A3 in terms of destruction? Not really, because it weakens B3 square.
He was trying to deal with the B4 square, it looked like, to make sure that wasn't challenging, but he did weaken the B3 square. And how maybe knight takes on E3 and park a bishop on B3 is possible, but Hans is studying his options now. All his pieces are developed. That is one thing that black has going for him in this position. The full development of the pieces and an edge on the clock. And he now grabs a pawn, it looks like, to play with a little bit. We see that a lot with chess players.
Yeah, that's an interesting habit that a lot of chess players have. Right. Knight e3, bishop b3 seems to be a perfect follow-up to his original plan. Then you can park the bishop on b3, go c5, c4, and make sure that the bishop from b3 controls d1. So the rook on a1 will be a problem to activate.
It's a heck of a way to exploit that last move, but instead he's gone passive and just played the move c6.
Knight takes and bishop takes.
That allows the bishop to come into the game. That is the dark squared bishop, bishop to e3. And now it looks like he played b5, did Hans? Bishop e3 on the board. We don't quite see the board with clarity to be able to know exactly what the move was.
Okay, so knight to g4. And this black setup, it's like the pawn on c6 is a backward pawn, but this bishop on d5 completely cements the entire setup, and it's very hard to foresee how white is supposed to break all this build-up, all this formation in the center. I think black's perfectly fine.
Our colleague Peter Lako would say cemento position. He likes it when there's nothing you can do to change the formation, and now we see this bishop take the knight as the knight was going to some dynamic squares, and he gets to play the move e3. There's a small potential problem with the bishop on d5 in that it doesn't have much to do, but then at the same time, again, that cemento concept is that it is perfectly well defended. The entire formation, there are no breaks for white in this position.
Yeah, the bishop on f1, well, which technically is supposed to be kind of a quote-unquote good bishop, doesn't have that many prospects.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what Magnus is supposed to do to begin to improve his position. And you can actually see some expansion for black on the king side. Some f5, g5 action could be played. Whoa, c5. That is anti-cemento. Why would you play such a move? It's because he wanted to play the move c4 to lock down the entire position.
Look, I mean, he's... whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's ambitious
Black
play.
has a lot of space here. A lot of extra space. And then once again, as you've mentioned, g5, f5, like expanding even further.
Bishop to e6, and now the rooks have doubled. This gives the opportunity for rooks to go into the position, but a very quick rook to d5 by black, and it seems as though he's looking to play for the win here. And b4 played at just this exact moment. And I mean, it's clear Hans is playing for the win.
Yeah,
he hasn't put the brakes on at all. No equality in his mind. But now his bishop used to be very strong. He's going to have to, well, very much cemented. It looks like it will have to move off the square or maybe get defended by rook a5. I don't think it's something you really want to do. But he's played king back to c5. That early king sally. Now king up. That allows, interesting, rook a4.
Rook a4.
What is the purpose of
Wait
this
a second.
move?
After rook d4, can he really? Yeah, I was thinking like rook d4 could have been a move.
h4. G6, just to stop anything over there. Magnus down to 30 seconds, 28 actually now, and ticking. Hans keeping that edge on the clock. It has gotten closer, but he has maintained that edge. And Magnus now starting to feel the heat under 20 seconds and pausing here, not sure exactly what to do. The move bishop to g4 actually prompting the potential f5 move, but Hans has decided, I'm not going to play that. I'm just going to drop my piece back. And Magnus also dropping his piece back, his bishop back to e2.
Silent draw after bishop e2, because Khan could repeat the moves, and he decided not to. Obviously, he thinks he has like a lot of space advantage and also kind of a flow advantage, right? So he's the one making the moves faster. Magnus down to 15 seconds only.
And well, h5, that's a big move, conceding the fact that you have no more breaks on that side.
Yeah. Rook d1, rook a8.
But 10 seconds left for Magnus. There is a 2-second increment, but he is not sure what to do. And I'll tell you, Hans has no problem flagging him.
Absolutely.
And now a little repetition there by Hans. 5 seconds for Magnus versus 24. And a repetition and an agreed draw in that position. He did not have to do that. He could have been cheeky and tried to win the game. Let's jump to Nepo versus Murji.